I have a strange ability, one that's both a gift and a curse. I can hear the thoughts of anyone who doesn't love me. It's made life clear, to say the least. I've never been fooled by fake friends or empty confessions. I've cut off people before they could hurt me, not because of what they said, but because I heard what they really thought. Even when I buy fruit, I listen in. The vendor might smile and say, "Best durian in the market," but I'd hear, "Just give him the one that's almost overripe." So I'd take the one next to it. It's helped me live a quiet, uncomplicated life. But then came Willow. The first time we met, everything went silent. No voices, no thoughts. Just her voice and mine, like the rest of the world had muted itself. "Hi," she said. "May I get to know you?" There was nothing behind her smile. And for once, that wasn't scary, it was peaceful. We started dating, fell in love. After 2 years, we got engaged. And in all that time, I never heard a single stray thought from her until the night before our wedding. She'd been busy lately handling the wedding and running her family's company. The Liu family wasn't exactly low profile, and I respected how she handled all of it without asking for help. We barely saw each other in those final weeks, but I didn't mind. I thought we were building something bigger than ourselves. So, when I showed up for our final outfit fitting and saw her trying on shoes, I was just happy to see her. She smiled at me, then picked up her phone and walked away to take a call. And just as I glanced over, I heard her, "If Makoto plans to hijack the wedding tomorrow, heels would be hard to run in." I stood there, frozen. Makoto? Wedding hijack? That was her inner voice. I know the difference. It hit me like a gut punch. All this time, she'd been silent, and now the silence had cracked open to reveal the truth. I saw a staff member quietly tuck sneakers into her dress box. She gave me a nod and turned to leave, probably assuming I wouldn't question it, but I couldn't let it go. "Willow," I called after her. She paused just for a second, then turned and smiled like nothing was wrong. "Urgent meeting with a client," she said, sliding into her car. "I'll see you tomorrow." But I heard her real thoughts loud and clear. "Makoto's mad. If I don't calm him down, he won't let me come home tonight." I didn't waste time feeling sorry for myself. Instead, I tracked down her secretary and dug for answers quietly. And it all came together. Makoto was her ex, the one who disappeared, the one the Liu family rejected. He was the black sheep of the Ito clan, never formally recognized, and I just looked a little like him. She had loved him, still did. I was just a shadow to help her cope. Now, he was back, and so was her plan. A wedding hijack, not just for love, but for status, for drama, for approval. She'd stage it all, hoping the Liu family would have no choice but to accept Makoto and me. Just a prop in their power play. It was all so ridiculous I couldn't help but laugh. It felt like I'd been dropped into one of those absurd CEO romance novels people love to mock. That night, while the world assumed I was prepping for the happiest day of my life, I was packing. I booked a one-way flight overseas and didn't even look back. If Willow wanted a dramatic escape, I could match it. She'd run off with her old flame. Fine. I'd vanish from the entire wedding. Thankfully, my family lived abroad, and the guest list was small. It was meant to be intimate, so no extended family, no big announcements, just close friends and a clean escape route. I told my plan to my best friend David. He just sighed and grabbed the moving box from me. "Are you trying to stop me?" I asked. "No, you idiot," he said. "I brought you a urea sack. It won't tear easily, right?" Agrochemical family. That tracks. The next morning, dressed in our formal reception wear, Willow and I stood together and greeted guests. She smiled like a bride in love, but in my ears, her thoughts pounded louder than ever. "Is Makoto here yet? I've waited 3 years. I'm finally going to be with him. Mrs. Ito, I can't wait." I nearly laughed. She turned to me, still sweet. "George, you don't look well. Go rest in the lounge before the ceremony." I nodded. "Good idea." I had no intention of coming back. As I slipped away to change out of my suit, I ran into him. "Makoto, we looked similar." "Too similar." He smiled at me, all polite venom. "You must be one of Willow's friends," I said. "Come in, the wedding starts soon." His face twitched. "Mr. Wang," he said, voice clipped, "we're dressed similarly. If someone didn't know better, they might confuse me for the groom." And then I heard him, "Laugh all you want. In 3 hours, you'll be gone and I'll be the one beside her." I just smiled. "Aren't all suits the same?" David rolled his eyes as we walked away. "That guy needs to be punched. He thinks I'm a joke," I said. And maybe I was for a little while. By the time the ceremony began, I was already at the airport, watching the entire drama unfold through David's nonstop messages. "David, dude, they actually did it. Wedding hijack success." She ran with him. Shameless. He sent a video. Makoto in his matching suit, grabbing the mic. "Willow, will you come with me?" She said yes. The crowd gasped, but the groom, he was already on a flight, first class, champagne in hand, watching the chaos unfold from a quiet sky above it all. And for once, the voices were silent again. "Aren't all suits the same?" I said with a smile, waving a waiter over to escort Makoto inside. But his thoughts weren't exactly subtle. "Idiot. I've already made it clear I'm here to cause chaos." David leaned in, scowling. Look at the smug look on his face. Makes me want to punch something. I couldn't disagree. Makoto clearly thought I was the joke, just a prop for their dramatic reunion. He'd snatch the bride, win back the Liu family's approval, and steal the spotlight with his ridiculous little love story. Let them have it. By then, I was already sitting in the departure lounge at the airport, watching the time tick by. The ceremony hadn't started yet, but I couldn't wait to see how their circus unfolded. Bees, bees, bees. My phone lit up with messages from David. "David, George, they really did it. They actually hijacked the wedding. This is insane." 5 minutes before the official start time, David sent me a video of the ceremony. According to the original plan, I was supposed to walk on stage first, followed by Willow. But she had changed it. Now she'd enter first, just so Makoto could interrupt at the perfect moment. It was exactly what I wanted. Makoto, dressed in a matching groom's suit, strutted on stage, grabbed the mic from the MC, and declared his love for Willow in front of everyone. "Willow, will you come with me?" She looked at him like he was her prince. Tears welled up. She whispered, "I do," then walked to his side, hand in hand, leaning on his shoulder in her sneakers. Yes, the ones hidden under that escape-ready wedding dress. It was shameless. But the best part, Makoto wasn't done yet, grinning like he'd won the lottery. He turned to the closed door I was supposed to walk through. "I know you care about Willow, Mr. Wang," he said, as if I were behind it. "But she's mine now. I hope you'll let us be." And then, awkward silence. He paused. "Mr. Wang." Still silence. "Mr. Wang." The protocol officer finally opened the door, only to find an empty room and a boutonniere carelessly tossed on a chair. No groom. No heartbreak. Just a giant middle finger wrapped in satin. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Did the groom ditch the wedding? Back at the airport, I burst out laughing. Let them have their ridiculous scene. I was already halfway to a new life. Might as well give everyone a show. Right then, the main wedding screen at the venue lit up with a red banner. "Wedding escape statement. Due to Willow's affair with Makoto, I've chosen not to show up. Enjoy the drama. Oh, and let's hope these two keep their chaos locked up from now on." Attached were a few very intimate photos of Willow and Makoto. David, mission accomplished. I smiled and posted the same statement on my WeChat account. One final message before going offline. From that moment on, the wedding was no longer a romantic tale of reunited lovers, it was a public disaster. Makoto's heartfelt speech, now just a punchline. Willow's dreamy look, a meme in the making. Nobody paid them any attention. The MC stepped off stage. Guests didn't clap. They didn't even stay seated. They scrambled. "Where's George? Has anyone checked the groom's lounge? Try the rooftop. Why is no one answering his phone?" Even the stiff-backed Liu family elders stood up and ordered the staff to track me down. Meanwhile, Makoto and Willow stood there like mannequins, no one looking, no one caring. Their fantasy of a passionate, chaotic escape had fizzled out like a wet firework. The groom had escaped, yes, but not with heartbreak. He left them behind with a mess they couldn't sweep under the rug, and the cherry on top, their wedding hijack was trending online. Netizens dubbed them the reversed groom and bride. Once I boarded my flight, I sent David a quick message on a backup account, airborne. Told my parents, don't give them anything. Then I switched to airplane mode. After we landed, David's messages came flooding in. David voice note, "George, oh my God, that was legendary. You have no idea how much chaos you caused. The Liu family is losing it. The guests are confused, the relatives are embarrassed, and your name is on every trending hashtag." He couldn't stop laughing. Willow, chased me down outside your villa, still pretending nothing happened, asking where you were. I just said, he's abroad now. That shut her up. I could tell by his laughter that things had gone exactly the way I'd hoped. Their grand love story? Nothing but a sad little side note to the real headline, The Groom Who Didn't Show. Willow thought I'd keep quiet to protect our family's reputations. She thought I'd swallow the humiliation to preserve her image. But she was wrong. She wanted a dramatic wedding hijack? I gave her one better. I hijacked the ending. Willow never expected me to actually skip the wedding. She probably thought I'd just suck it up, put on a brave face, and go through with it like a fool. But instead, I tore off the carefully constructed mask she'd put on our relationship and shoved the truth in both her and Makoto's faces. Let them have each other. Love, when it's real, should be sweet. But marriage? That's another story entirely. Once the confetti settles, it's about grocery lists, late bills, and quiet resentment over toothpaste caps left off. When you realize you're headed for a life like that with the wrong person, it's better to turn around before it's too late. I was ready to light fireworks in celebration. My parents had been living overseas for years, where love is simpler, more honest. And since Willow and I hadn't even registered the marriage legally, I didn't owe anyone an explanation. So when I called to say I was coming home, my parents arranged everything. The moment I got off the plane, someone was already waiting. Meanwhile, David couldn't stop relaying the chaos. The whole thing fizzled, he said over the phone. Guests trickled out in awkward little clusters. Barely anyone stuck around, except for a few who wanted to witness the Liu family implode. Apparently, Mrs. Liu lost it, slapped Willow across the face. And honestly, she had it coming. Everyone knew how much I'd helped Willow build her image, how I pulled strings and used my connections. And in return, she let her little high school crush hijack a wedding. Makoto, the illegitimate golden boy, had turned an already embarrassing situation into a full-on farce. Even old Mr. Liu didn't look at him, just walked out. Stone-faced, Makoto stayed, fumbling, red-eyed, clinging to Willow as if that would fix anything. His pride must have shattered. People who treat others like jokes usually end up becoming one. I told David, if they ever manage to hold a real wedding, I'll send them a fruit basket. With sincerity, I'd met Willow at a charity gala back when I was visiting Cydia for work and to see my roots. We're originally from there, but the family had long since moved everything overseas. My parents are older now. Long flights aren't easy. Willow had called out to me, glass in hand, glowing like a woman who had never known rejection. Normally, I don't initiate conversations at those events. Too noisy, too fake. My mind-reading ability makes everything worse. But when I looked at Willow, there was only silence. No inner voice, no hidden thoughts, just peace. That rare stillness made me stop, made me stay. Later, when she confessed, rose in hand, visibly shaking, I believed her. George, we'll be together forever, she whispered. I saw no lies in her eyes, no noise in her heart. So I stayed. I trusted her, but promises are only worth something when love is real. And looking back now, I think her love for Makoto was more fantasy than fact. He wasn't the person she remembered, and she wasn't the person he thought he loved either. Some stories are beautiful only because they're incomplete. 2 weeks after the whole disaster, David called again. Remember that second wedding invite from those clowns? He said. I went. Thought I stumbled into a neighborhood potluck. I've seen family barbecues with more energy. Mr. Liu didn't even show. Just Mrs. Liu, stone-faced, sipping tea like she was at a funeral. She didn't hand out red envelopes, didn't acknowledge Makoto as family. She called him Mr. Ito the whole time, David said, practically howling with laughter. And then, on stage, she scolded him, told him to act with decency and shame. Like, damn. Apparently, Makoto snapped. He actually threw the bouquet in a tantrum. Willow had to jump in to calm both him and her mother, but none of this shocked me. Mrs. Liu was never thrilled about the wedding. The only reason she attended at all was probably because Makoto sweet-talked her daughter again, and still, he couldn't help himself. He managed to piss off his mother-in-law before even legally becoming her son-in-law. I heard he's been filling Willow's company with his own people, David added. He's thriving now that the Ito family finally recognizes him. Business is booming. Meanwhile, everything I'd done to support Willow, now benefiting someone else. Jealous? David teased. I just shrugged. Not really. I came out ahead too. made a decent profit off the whole thing, but Willow, things weren't so easy for her either. She might have had the title of CEO, but the power? That was still in her father's hands. And now, with her cousin getting promoted, the pressure was clearly mounting. She was stuck, caught between the person she loved and the family business she couldn't lose. "You sound like you feel sorry for her," David said, suspicious. I smirked. "Don't get it twisted. I'm not sending her warm tea and comforting texts. I'm thinking maybe I can turn this into an opportunity." So you are still a bastard. Good to know, but even I didn't expect to hear her voice again. 2 months later, she called. "George." Just that one word made my chest tighten, though not for the reason she probably hoped. Willow, Miss Miller. So she was the mysterious client Parsons had mentioned. Should have known, but I wasn't surprised she tracked me down. Business is a small world, especially when you've got money, George. She hesitated, stammered, like we were still in high school and I was her crush all over again. I sighed internally. What was she expecting? Did she think I'd melt the second I heard her voice? That I'd get nostalgic and forgive her for staging the most humiliating moment of my life? I cut her off flatly. "If this isn't about the project, I need to go." "Brief, Mr. Liu." Still she tried. "I'm sorry for everything. I know I hurt you. I know skipping the wedding, running away. I deserved all of it. I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry." I went quiet, not because I was moved, but because, after everything, the only thing I felt was peace. Chapter 9. A quiet goodbye. "Willow, have you gotten what you wanted?" There was a long pause on the other end. Finally, her voice came through, quiet, tired. "I don't know anymore. Makoto isn't the same man I once loved. Or maybe he was never that man to begin with." She sighed. "I know I shouldn't be bothering you. I just felt like talking. I went to a cocktail party tonight and suddenly remembered the days when we were on the same team, fighting side by side." I gave a short, humorless laugh. "Well, if Mrs. Ito finds out we're still in touch, I doubt she'd be thrilled." Turning away from the call, I called out casually, "Lisa, come here. Thanks for helping me introduce this project to Mr. Liu. I've got other things to handle." Because honestly, it was over. No matter how passionate something once was, time dulls it. The pearl powder you used to scoff at ends up being more precious once it's gone. That's just how people are. We chase what we can't have. I stepped back from everything related to Willow. I had Lisa handle the project follow-ups. If she ever messaged me again, I didn't respond. I knew what she was doing. I'd already given her one chance. There wouldn't be another. Weeks passed. Then Lisa came back from a trip to Cydia with news. "Miss Liu wanted me to tell you. She's divorced." Honestly, I saw it coming. The moment Makoto began pushing his own people into her company, I knew it wouldn't end well. Even David was caught off guard. "She really told you herself?" he asked. "She did," I said. "Through Lisa. Clearly wanted me to know." David snorted. "She still thinks you're her backup." "Unreal." Then he added, "Turns out Makoto was already married overseas. Some rich foreign woman. Came back after losing a court case to her son. Aunt Liu nearly fainted when she found out. Slapped Willow on the spot. Apparently, the marriage had been crumbling from the start. Makoto's sweet talk didn't last long, and Willow eventually filed for divorce. So quick. Just a year ago. She was ready to give up everything for him. All I could do was laugh. Makoto hadn't changed. Willow's fantasy of him had. Eventually, I stopped thinking about her. She became just another part of my past, blurred by distance and time. Years later, when David got married, I returned to Cydia, this time with my daughter Anna. My wife was away on an Antarctic research mission, so it was just the two of us. After the wedding, Anna begged me to take her to a nearby mall's play area. She ran ahead, full of energy, and promptly bumped into someone around a corner. Sorry, kids." I started apologizing, then froze. "George," came a soft, familiar voice. It was Willow. I shouldn't have been surprised. The mall probably belonged to the Liu family, but the woman standing in front of me wasn't the one I remembered. The sparkle was gone. She looked tired. "Long time no see," she said, forcing a smile. "This is my daughter Anna," I replied. She crouched down and smiled gently at Anna, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "It's okay, sweetie. Just be careful next time." Then she stood and turned to me. "There's a new cafe upstairs. Still like Robusta." I hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, just give me a minute." By the time I joined her, David had already told me everything about her fall from grace, Makoto's betrayal, her family withdrawing support, career in limbo, and now here she was alone, worn, but still holding on to something. She ordered coffee, 1 Robusta, 1 Kang Balin, then changed her mind. Actually, make that a Vienna instead. George used to love Robusta, but I guess his taste has changed. I gave a light smile. Too much caffeine, my wife says. So I switched. Turns out I like the sweet stuff. We chatted, lightly, casually, like old friends who knew too much but said too little. I saw your wedding photos, she said softly. It looked beautiful. That castle in Switzerland must have been special. I nodded. It was. She paused. Would you mind accepting my friend request? I gently set my coffee down and gave her a steady look. Willow, let's not do this. Her smile faltered. I did love you, I said honestly, but I don't anymore. I've built a life, a peaceful, happy one. I've moved on, and I hope you can too. What's lost is lost for both of us, and that's okay. Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't argue. When I returned to Anna, she was listening intently to the play area manager reading The Little Prince. She looked up and asked, Daddy, why did the little prince leave the fox and go back to the rose? I smiled, holding her hand. Because even though the fox was special, the rose was the one he cared for every single day. Willow stood beside us, silent as we left. She handed Anna a brand new copy of The Little Prince. At the car window, our eyes met one last time. Still no inner voice, just silence, just closure. I held Anna close as we drove away. That was my final act, not revenge, not triumph, just grace. A quiet, honest farewell. In her story, I would always be the one that slipped through her fingers. Not a thunderstorm, but the lingering mist of a memory, a haunting presence in a calm world. And as for me, I had already turned the last page.